Hello, everybody, and welcome to our last lesson in this book, Probability. It's orange. And this is Skill Builder 5, which is on page 24. So for this page, I want you to write homework on top. And I'll get you started on this. Choose a word from the word list below to describe each event. So a lion will serve you dinner tonight. Your job is to match it up with one of these words. Now remember that in the beginning of this book, I gave you a slide that kind of explained the word. So I'm going to go back and see if I find it. Let's see. There it is. So these are the ones that are kind of matching up. This was in video 1, and hopefully you still, well, you can take a screenshot or a photo with your camera if you have one, and then look at it. So virtually certain, more than 99% probability. I don't need to read them out to you, but we've went over them. So you want to kind of use this to assign a likelihood or a word, not just your own thoughts, but go back to this slide. And another slide you'll need to go back on is the cards. Let's see if I have one right here. If you need to take a photo of that, this is your standard deck of cards without any jokers. So 52 of them. And it's going to ask you questions about what's the probability to draw a red card or a number 2. So you need to figure out how many of those are in the deck out of 52, and that'll give you your probability. So these 2. Now we're going to go back to our page. Okay, so we're here. So you have to decide. Most likely, it's very unlikely that a lion will serve you dinner tonight. I mean, there's a small possibility that there's a tame lion that might walk in from a zoo or a circus, but most likely not. So I'm going to say impossible. I'll call it unlikely. Now with other ones, you might want to find the probability and actually compare to that slide I just showed you. From a full shuffle deck of cards, you pick one card and get a 2 or a 3. So you have to count how many 2 or 3s are in the card, and I think there's probably 8. So 8 out of 52, you change it to a percent and then match it up what the word is that's associated with that percent. And then there is no chance you're going to get a 2 and a 3 if you pick one card. So that would be zero, would be impossible. So good luck on this one. This is all your homework right here. And then move down. Now we're looking at a card game. That's when you look at the slide with the cards. No jokers. And what is the probability? You choose one card. You only get one draw at random, which makes it fair and a chance event. Ace of diamonds, how many are there? It's always what you desire or what you want out of the total number possible. It's always out of 52. And then you need to change it to a percent by dividing and multiplying by 100. So whatever this number is divided by 52, that'll give you the decimal version. Multiply that by 100, gives you the percent. So this is your homework. All of these are homework. And also look at number 11 and 12. You got a heart with a value less than 5. And then on this one says a spade. What's the probability of drawing a spade with a value less than or equal to 9? So the or equal to includes the 9. So that's going to be a bigger probability. So you have to count the 9, and there you do not count the 5. So it's less probability. So make sure you understand that. Yeah, count the 9. Don't count the 5. And then we're talking about marbles. You're choosing a single marble at random from the jar. What is the probability of choosing a red marble? So how many red marbles are there? There are 6. And what are the total number of marbles? You have to add them up. 6 plus 5 is 11, plus 8 is 19, plus 3 is 22. And you can reduce your fraction if you like. To change it to a decimal, you divide. And then to change it to a percent, you multiply by 100. Use a calculator. You definitely need a calculator for these homework questions. So if you don't have one now, get one. I suggest you do not use your phone because you're not allowed to use that in class. So this is page 24. All of this needs to be done for homework next time I meet you. And then Skill Builder 6 is on page 25, and that's also homework, but I want to get you started on that. It's making another spinner. So this is something you'll be having to do most likely on the test. Draw a spinner diagram to match the clues below. Express each probability as a fraction, decimal, and percent in the table below right here. So clue 1 is the spinner is divided into 8 equal sections, each colored red, blue, or yellow. So the clue is we need to make 8 equal sections, and they have to be same size. So if it says 8 equal sections, you can't willy-nilly draw 8 sections. You have to think ahead. How am I going to make it? I want you to try it. Pause the video. Excuse me. Pause the video and see if you can do it with a pencil. And if it doesn't look right, then you can erase. And I'll do it. And then you can see how mine looks and if yours looks the same. Okay? So pause your video. I'm going to start by making half. So now I have 2 equal sections. Then I make the quarter. Now I have 4 equal sections. And then I cut each one in half again. It's like slicing a pizza up. Try to make it equal. If you use a ruler, it really works well. After all this time, I still haven't figured out how to use this machine to make straight lines. There we are, kind of like that. So now let's count. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, and they're pretty equal. So that's my first clue. My second clue says each of the 3 colors has positive probability. This one is not needed because every probability is a positive. Because remember, it's a number between 0 and 1, and those are positive numbers. So this is just extra. They usually throw one in that you don't need. I like clue 4 the most, so I'm going to start with this one. It is more likely that the spinner will land in the yellow area than in the area with red and blue. So that means more than half has to be yellow. So if it's more than half yellow, I'll start with calling this yellow. So this is half right now here. Then if I stop here, it would say it's equally likely to land on yellow than on red or blue, but it's more than likely. So one more has to be yellow, definitely, minimum. But then this clue says the spinner spinning a blue is less likely than spinning a red. So there, I know there's more red. And since I only have 3 left, 2 of them has to be red. And the other one has to be blue. So that's how you can divvy that up. And then you have your probability you're landing on red would be 2 out of 8. And then write it as a decimal. I'll do the first one for you. 2 out of 8, since there's 2 reds out of 8 total. And then you divide. 2 divided by 8. Use your calculator. That should be 0.25. Try it out yourself. I encourage you to do it yourself because you're going to have to do it yourself and then you kind of don't understand what that calculator buttons are. When you divide, make sure you divide top divided by bottom, not 8 divided by 2. That's wrong because that's not 0.25, that's 4. So this is not working. Okay, it has to be top divided by bottom. And then when you multiply that by 100, you get 25%. Try it out, please. Okay, so this is one last time I'll show you how to make a spinner correctly. And then you're going to answer all these questions down here. And when you ask, what is if you spin it 800 times, no way you're going to try that 800 times. I want you to look at your probabilities here and see what's your probability you land on yellow, right? And what's your percentage? And then find the percentage of 800. So your percentage or your decimal times 800 will give you your new percent. Your decimal on the yellow, so it's the decimal on yellow for number 4 times 800 gives you your percent. So that's a clue right there. So don't guess and don't try the experiment. This is why we do probability. We want to predict the future. We don't want to do it 800 times or 1,000 or 5 million times. We want to know with theoretical probability what the answer could be. Okay, so that's page 25. And we're skipping the next page, No Skill Builder 7. And we're now on page 27. Skill Builder 8 is homework. Theoretical probability is the one you use math. And experimental would be when you actually try it out. The numbers don't always match, but if you repeat the experiment often enough, they will get closer and closer to the theoretical probability. Less than means you do not include 5. So you're rolling your dice and you're counting so it's your probability of getting a 1, a 2, a 3, or a 4, right? What is the theoretical probability of getting a number less than 5 when you roll 1 number cube 1 time? So there's 4 choices out of the 6. And that would make it 2 out of 3. And that would make it 0.66 or 67%, rounded up. This is rounded. If it includes the 5, you would have another number that would make it 5 out of 6. So that would make your probability higher. Okay. Now you have to do your own spinner question. They already did the spinner for you. You didn't have a puzzle to figure it out, and see if you can answer the rest of these questions. Remember, in class, if you have questions, we'll go over it. However, I want you to get a good start on it and try your very personal best to answer as many questions as you can before you come to class. The vocabulary is on our first page. When I started on the very beginning, you have to look those up here. That's homework. And this right here is homework. Selected response means it's multiple choice. Please don't guess. I want to start you on the first one. The spinner is laid out and you have using the spinner to the right, so you don't have to make it. It's already done for you. What is the probability of spinning orange or purple? So orange or purple, there's 50, half of it is purple, right? Do you see? And orange is, what do you think? How much of the total spinner is orange? So what you do is you have to make sure your sections are all the same size. So I'm extending these lines and I see that 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, there's 6 equal sections. So that's 1/6. That's 1/6. And that's 1/6. And that was 1/6, 1/6, 1/6 is the same as 1/2. Okay, so if you spin, you got all this chance to hit purple and all this chance to hit orange. So you can add 1/2 plus the orange was 1/6. And then you decide what that is. Okay, so landing in any of those blue will be what your desired outcome is. Okay, the rest, your job to figure out. Page 29, and let's stop right here. So your homework will stop on page 29. Good luck to you. See you next week.